Okay, Lee, before we get into looking ahead for the game against Notts County, you're preparing, of course, for that game at Meadow Lane, preparing without a few of your players as well, away on international. Can you just explain to your supporters the reason why it hasn't got called off?
Yeah, so obviously Zach and Jamie are more senior players. They qualify. Callum doesn't fall into that bracket. It's something like you've got to play 3 of the last 5 games or 25% of the games that have gone, so he doesn't fall into that bracket in terms of where we're able to call games off. So that's where we are with that. What I didn't mention on Saturday after the game is congratulations to Jamie as well, obviously getting called up to the men's national team, which he'll be really proud of, and I just think it shows the development he's made over the last 30 odd games at the club.
Well, it does mean as well for you, you've got to shuffle your pack.
Yeah, we have, but we've got players willing to come in. We're obviously really light at the back, leaves us short, but we'll come up with a plan in terms of what we look like against Notts County. Unfortunately, Mickey's obviously just rejoining training really, so it is what it is, and we'll get on with it.
Well, you're now down to single figures in terms of how many games have got to be played. It's still real uncertain what's going to happen. The one thing that is going to be certain is that league table is going to change every time there's a set of matches.
Yeah, there'll be changes. There'll be teams that have put a little bit of a run together who are going to have a push towards the playoffs. So it will change. 27 points to play for, so a hell of a lot to gain if we can put some consistency together. We have done performance-wise really over the last 2 games, having more players available to us. But it's exciting. And I say we're playing against teams in and around it, and that's what we want. We want them exciting games. And I don't think a blip at any point will define the season really. I think it's about how you respond and carry on from that, and I'm assuming that'll be the message to the teams around us from their manager.
As you pointed out earlier, you're without a few of the players in your preparations, but when you've got a week like this and you're building up towards the end of the season, do you change things in training sessions and build up, or is it as normal routine?
No, we try and stay as consistent as possible with the players in terms of what we're showing them and what we're delivering in training. We've got a lot of bodies until obviously people have gone away. We've got a lot of bodies out there, which is nice to be able to have. So we are then able to. We've had the Cheshire Senior Cup, which has taken a few of the players away, but it's better to have more players so we can work on the 11v11 stuff a little bit more leading towards the back end of the season, because it is difficult at the club to be able to do the 11v11 stuff all the time. With having the 21 games and the Cheshire Senior Cup games, means they're not available a lot for Tuesdays when we like to do it. So we have to come up with different formats in terms of how we deliver some of the messages going into the games. But what we will be is consistent with the players, and I think that's important, that you just don't spring something on them that's completely different.
It's taken a long time, but as you mentioned earlier, again, the treatment room is getting clearer. You mentioned Mickey Dimitriou. Was Conor Reen okay? I know he came off. He wouldn't want to come off, but you took him off as a precaution. And Jamie Connolly, how's he doing?
Yeah, I may as well just give Notts my team, haven't I? No, look, we got a couple in there still, haven't we? James, Mickey, Connor took a nasty bang to the leg. So again, Graham, we're going to have to look at it. We've got 48 hours to the game, and we'll have a good look at it and see where we're at. We're planning to have them. Connor, we're planning to have him, and we're planning not to have him. So we'll see where we're at the end of play tomorrow.
You mentioned last week, of course, that it's 9 cup finals to play now, and of course that's the big thing, to be focused on that. It's all about yourselves.
Yeah, you've got to, but you've always got to be respectful against who you play against. We're playing against good teams, good players, good managers, so you have to give the opposition some focus. What I was pleased with last week in terms of the goal scoring positions that our players got into, it's just about us now taking them opportunities, because you watch the game back and I know they put us under a bit of pressure, but again, if we take our chances and a bit more ruthless, we could have scored 3 quite comfortably in that game. So it is a focus on us in terms of what we need to look like in the final third, because we do need to score more goals, and obviously in this run of 9 games we need some victories.
Yeah, that's real positive, isn't it? That or are you disappointed that you didn't take the chances, but you created them, and hopefully they're going to start going in?
Look, you have some disappointment after the game in terms of what could be, and then obviously it's hard to assess sometimes directly after a game. Multiple things happen after the game, who you have to talk to, etc. So it's hard to really assess. But when you in the cold light of day, we did have good opportunities, which is only a positive things. Players playing in positions that looks like it really suits them. So them opportunities are coming.
Everybody's having a little inconsistent run. That's the way it is. That's why the league table's so tight at the top end of it. And at the moment, your next opposition, Notts County, are probably in that little bracket at the moment. What are you expecting?
A real tough game. A team that will try and dominate the football against you. They will have large parts of the football. That's what they do. It's important that the concentration from our players in terms of what they look for is spot on. You can't have a moment's rest against them in terms of what they look for, in terms of the rotations, etc. But it'll be a real tough game. It should be a good game. We'll take a bundle load, I can imagine. They'll have a good crowd there, brilliant stadium, and we'll try and go toe for toe with them, because both teams need the victory. Like you say, that they've had a little blip, but they've got good players. I know they'll be missing their centre forward through international duty, but they've got really good players who can come in and fill that void.
And it's a big game on TV as well. It's the big match.
Yeah, we seem to be picked for that quite a bit, and that's down to where we are in the league and the opposition that we're having. Our preparations will be good going into that game in terms of how we're looking after the players, so there'll be no issue there. And I expect to see us on telly a couple more times before the end of the season.